So I'd like to just spend a few moments with you, just feeling what's here. Of course, um, that's what's always happening, is the feeling of what's here, isn't it? There's never anything else happening. The feeling of what's here, the felt sense of what's here. This amazing, inexplicable aliveness. I mean, there really are no words for what's here. When you feel what's here, what's extraordinary, and just allow yourself to notice this, that the feeling of this moment, the feeling of whatever it is that's here in all of its seeming diversity, feel the presence of what's here and notice that the feeling of this, in the feeling of this, there is no story, actually. There is no narrative. There's no definition, no description, no identity. There's no, and so there's no entanglement. There's no missing something. There's no finding something. There's just this. And when I say just, I'm not diminishing it, of course, because this is unfathomable in its depth and richness and vibrancy and potency. The presence of this, the feeling of this, feel this moment that you are feeling. Because of course, even in some moment that you imagine, oh, I'm not feeling this moment, I forgot to feel this moment, you are feeling the moment. This is what's happening. This is one way to describe what's happening, is reality feeling itself, life feeling itself in all of its apparent forms and manifestations and flavors. But the feeling of this moment does not actually collapse into anything that we might call a thing. It's wide open. It is absolutely transcendental. The feeling of this moment does not fit into any category. It doesn't fit into any framework, into any concept, into any word. And yet it is all words and all concepts at the same time. And notice how this presence that's feels, you could say, as if it's a kind of streaming, ever-changing flow, is here already. It's already here, right? It's already here. And it's here completely without any effort or agency on our part to make it here, isn't it? It's just here. This beingness, the beingness of everything. Its arising is inexplicable. It is magical how this is here, how anything is here, how the beingness of everything is here, the existence of everything. And this beingness, this presence, is what is, we could say, what's most fundamental about everything. This is the, I say, the common denominator of everything is its existence, the beingness of all of this. Feel the beingness of what you might imagine to be you, the you that's listening. Feel the beingness of that. And now feel the beingness of something like a sound that you imagine is maybe outside of you, the circle of you. Feel the beingness of that, the beingness of anything you imagine outside of the circle of the beingness of you. And just notice that there's just this seamless continuum of being. The beingness of the birds and the beingness of me is just the beingness. It's all the beingness. Absolutely indivisible. And yet showing up as distinct aspects, we could say distinct forms. It's almost like you can toggle back and forth between these two perspectives. The birds over there, the one listening over here, the sounds of traffic over there, the one hearing those sounds over here. And yet there's just this beingness that is the beingness of everything. And from that other perspective, there's just absolutely no division. There's no separation. There's no two things. There's just beingness. How we think about ourselves or know about what we are, imagine what we are, is really all based on experience, right? This is what I am, this experience. But we falsely, innocently imagine that the beingness of that which we think of as outside of us, that experience of the sounds, is somehow not also me. But all of this experience is what you are, right? I call it the body of experience. All of it is our body, the body of experience, which has no edge to it. That is our vastness, spatially speaking. But strangely, we can't even, if you feel the presence of experiencing and you say, there is no here and there to it, so there's no space, it's very odd. You could say all experience is occurring here or all experience is occurring there, but because there's no here and there, there's no dividing line between here and there that can be found. There is no space, literally. This is actually what we're feeling, or we can feel right now, the way in which that is so, that here and there are categories that don't hold up when we look. just as outside and inside don't hold up when we look. There's not an inside that goes for some amount of space and then there's some gap and then begins the outside. It isn't that way, is it? Just one field of experiencing with no inside or outside. All of it is you. Everything being experienced is what we are. All the sounds, all the sights, all the fluctuations of energy, all of the sensations, what we perceive as the world. Everything is experienced, and all the experience is what we are. One field, the vast infinite body of experiencing. Experiencing is already happening, isn't it? You don't have to take one step towards it in some way to do something to experience. Experiencing is just what's happening. We could call it experiencing. There's no word to say what's happening. This vast, edgeless field of experiencing, and every single point in that field, every single point of it, every single aspect, every single detail of that field of your experience that's right here, right now, is the entirety of the field. Because there's not really points. Because the points have no boundary around them. It's like if you were to look at one point to one aspect of the sky, there's the sky, you point to it, and there aren't any points in the sky, are there? Even though we imagine we can point to some part of the sky. There's just the whole of the sky. This is just like the field of our experiencing. There's just the whole of it. There's no actual separate pieces that can be pointed to. And we can draw a line around and say, oh, there it is. I've just defined that. I've just put a boundary around that. There it is. I mean, we speak and talk about and think about the field of experiencing in that way as separate pieces, sort of the distinct aspects or flavors of the field. But just as we could speak about the colors in a rainbow as being discrete and separate, right? Seemingly definable, identifiable as distinct, one from the other, from the other, from the other, looking at a rainbow. Yes, it can be seen that way and encountered that way. And then look again and you just see a continuum, don't you? Just see a spectrum of light. One seemingly discrete color blending into the next inseparably. That's just what our experience is like. One texture blending into the next, one sound blending into the next sight, blending into the next sensation, blending into the next memory, blending into the next vision, blending into the next little rumbling of energy in the body, blending into the next fantasy, blending into the next moment of quiet, the next moment of chaos. It's all blended. Everything is blended together with itself, all of life blended together with itself. That's what I mean by the seamless nature of this, the continuum of it, the edgeless nature of it. And from this experiential vantage, there's not something to be found by someone, is there? That's just absolutely gone. Not a someone that could find something apart from that someone. Just a seamless whole. So nothing's missing. And there's no one missing it. Right? You feel that? You, as the individual, we as the individuals we've imagined ourselves to be, somehow plucked out of reality, separated from it, and then looking back on that reality, trying to find whatever it is we're trying to find in that reality, we've never actually been plucked out of it. That's never occurred. The wave never got plucked out of the ocean and became something other than the ocean, ever. It has never occurred. Separation's never occurred. Literally.